That hurt. More verticality. Recording in progress. All right. Welcome to the Straight Red Card.
Nailed it, Derek. You nailed it.
Did I?
Perfect.
Okay. Hey, thanks for joining us, liking and subscribing and sharing it with your grandma, who I might have gone on a date with last night because we're probably the same age. No, I'm not even interested.
Those are mothballs.
Yeah. When you're 50, things start to smell funny. A lot of things start to smell funny. Well, here we are, right? We've got the roster. We're going to review the roster. You're welcome to ask questions about the roster. But I do have to start by at least admitting we were wrong about Hoppy. Okay?
He's in the reserve roster along with Sargent, apparently.
Yeah. We got bad info. I mean, not really bad, because I don't think most people would have thought he would have made the reserve roster even. So there's that, right? So that was a step up for Hoppy. And the other thing we were wrong with, and the only reason I was wrong about Brooks making this team was because of the fact that rationally he's in form.
Well, you can only go off of what Gregg said in the past.
And
Gregg said in the past, the only reason he's not included is because of his form.
Which was a fucking lie.
Well, looking at today's roster, of course it was.
Yeah, because if it's not about form, where is he? You're bringing in Aaron Long, who's played a couple games for the Red Bulls. It's just unbelievable to me.
Well, at least with Long, you can make the excuse that, well, prior to injury, he was in every camp. He understands the formation and how Gregg wants to play. The inclusions, and we'll get into this in more depth later, but some of the inclusions like Sands and even EPB to an extent, because EPB is at least doing well now and playing.
Yeah. Sands
is hardly playing.
Yeah, I know. He got 20 minutes today, but not at the position he'll probably be playing for us. I mean, he's listed as a defender, and that's usually pretty deliberate by U.S. Soccer. He's listed as a defender. He's a backup center back. Or in case Kellen Acosta, catches a cold and Adams breaks a leg, I guess you have Sands as a backup in that position.
I feel like in a pinch, we probably could have got away with Luca De La Torre or even Busio to an extent to play that position.
Yeah,
I don't think including Sands back in, and mind you, this was a bit different because what it was against Honduras that he played the dual 8s or dual 6s with the dual center mids with Acosta. That wasn't necessarily his fault. He had a really bad game. But yeah, I don't know. It was bad form going into it at that point. So we'll see what happens now.
Well, I'm only calculating that Gregg sat around and said, well, guys, if I leave Brooks off now when he is in good form, do you think that anybody will ask me about it? You think anybody's going to ask me about it? And I think they concluded, those motherfuckers won't ask me anything about it. So fuck them. Fuck Brooks. He's a cancer in the locker room or whatever the real reason is. And if he would just say, okay, it's just bad chemistry right now.
He may have accidentally scuffed one of Berhalter's shoes, and that's punishable by banishment.
Chemistry is important. So if it is chemistry, then at least be honest about it. Because, Brooks replied today. He has his own response to this.
We'll get to that in a few.
We'll bring it up. Sands and CCV are in the same league, but he gets a spot. Yeah, it's fucking weird.
And CCV plays consistently.
Well, like I said, that's the only thing I can think of is if Acosta breaks an ankle and Adams, gets armpit herpes or whatever, then they don't have any other people except for, you mentioned De La Torre, plays there occasionally, for his club team. But at least Sands has played there before. So you're thinking he must know the CDM spot, the 6. So I guess utility
Maybe.
as well, Sands has played all over the field in the past through his youth career and then right up through, when he played for NYCFC. So
to make that argument, Sargent plays all over the field too. So
we'll get to that.
Utility's not always the end all for everything. David says Tim Ream is greater than Aaron Long.
Not to Greg.
Aaron Long's faster. Then again, a sloth is faster, but
that's a good point. Greg wants to play high up the field and let his left backs and right backs roam, which leaves the two center backs exposed for a counter, especially a counter over their heads or out wide around them. So, yeah, he needs fast center backs right now. And he could use that excuse for Brooks, too. It's quite languid when he runs. So,
now with Brooks, it's his form, so we'll stick with that.
It's just a lie. It's a lie. And it's just time for someone in the press, in the media, to call him out in the next press conference. And here's the question I want Brian Schroeder to ask. Greg, in the last time we asked you about when Brooks was left off the roster, you mentioned he wasn't in form. And this time, it seems that he is in form. So what's the real reason that John Brooks is not on this roster?
What's funny is when it got announced that it was going to be on ESPN, Meg Swan came out and said, "Hey, I wish they would have allowed more time for the questions to be asked afterwards." So then I quoted her and I responded to her saying, "I go Meg," and then in quotes, "Hey Greg, I know in the past you said that the reason Berhalter's been left off the rosters is because of form, but he's not included on this roster." And this was a couple days back, but he was left off of this roster again. I mean, what's that about? And then Greg, in quotes, goes, I'm sorry, Meg. I'm getting a little static here.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe it's this tunnel. Next
question. Yeah, it's at this point there's no other conclusion except that he lied to our faces. And the other thing that was repulsive about this is that it was announced at what time was it when it finally was announced on ESPN?
It was like 6:30.
Those fake turds, those fakers, like they give a shit about this. Why, if they're gonna, sequester the rights or take the roster hostage at ESPN, I mean, really, can't they at least talk about it before it comes up in the show later on? Because they sprung it on us. And we went past 30 minutes. We hadn't heard a word about what was going to happen. And then they gave Twellman like a 30-second little tight shirt, got 30 seconds.
Thanks, Casanova. I got it for you.
However, he had an injury November, January. They weren't happy with his club form for this window. There are some details to his game that need to improve to fit in our game. Says there's not time to get him there in these tight windows. What? There are some details to his game that need to improve to fit into our game. Well, I hope. I mean,
he's got to run a 40 and 4 flat. Come on.
That's better bullshitting this time around, honestly. But if people want to accept that as Greg's answer for why Brooks didn't make this, then I wouldn't, because that's just a workaround answer. I mean, let's get back to the real reasons here. Brooks is sort of a negative guy on the field. And he's the one guy had a lot of negative expressions towards Greg while the game was going on. So, I don't know. And I don't know if I feel like I know what the reason is. And we've said it here so many times, I don't want to go into it. But it's the elephant in the room, and Brooks put out a statement today. Right?
Yep. Do you want to jump on that now?
Yeah, let's do it. Brooks also responded. Yes, he did.
All right. Pull that screen up here. Okay. So thanks to Chris Gary for pointing this out to us.
Thanks, Chris.
It was massive because this answers a lot of fun stuff we can speculate on. So Derek says, exclusive, preparing all week for my next commentary match.
Or should we say it like Derek Ray would?
You better do that.
All week for my next commentary match. No, all right. I'm sorry.
You'll shoot your voice on that one, man.
Yeah, sorry to break everyone's ears.
And I told everybody to put headphones on too, man. You just lost 20% of their hearing. Thanks, Derek.
And I received reaction from Wolfsburg defender John Anthony Brooks to not being selected for the U.S. men's national team squad. Brooks has vowed to fight to win his place back. Quotes will follow below. So what did Brooks say? Brooks, months ago, I accepted the responsibility for my play and the decision that kept me off the roster. Now I'm happy. I've regained my form, but unfortunately, I wasn't invited to camp.
So at least in that small quote, I feel like that's Brooks calling BS on the excuse that we mentioned.
Yeah, now I'm happy I've regained my form,
Yeah.
but unfortunately, I wasn't invited to camp. Basically, he's calling bullshit on Gregg.
I've got things I need to work on.
Apparently, there's some tiny shit he needs to work on, like the way he laces up his boots, his facial expressions, the way he wipes his ass in the toilet. You know, all these are very minute.
The
details.
American way, Derek. It must be done properly.
These are all things that are tracked by the whole U.S. soccer assistant coaches, and they've noticed he wipes ineffectively. He has weird facial expressions on the field that look negative and make other players on the field uncomfortable. And why don't we just say what it is? They don't like him. He's too slow, or whatever the horrible answer is, because it's got to be a really fairly negative one. But Gregg's answer does not answer anything. As usual, he's got a few tiny things to work on.
There you go, Sean. Derek literally just quoted you by accident, or answered you by accident. We covered Meg's comment just a few minutes ago, and basically Berhalter said that Brooks has a few things he needs to work on in order to make him a viable option for this team. More like paraphrasing, of course.
A few very small things that kind of sounded like. They aren't big things, like the fact that he's slow, or, I mean, these are things apparently he can fix in short order, but we don't need his experience going into this last window of qualifiers. So, yes, apparently Brooks also doesn't like to use two-ply. He brushes his teeth in a very German way, and that's annoying to Gregg.
Right to left, right? Oh, man.
But the real answer is just Gregg lied. That's the real answer. He lied. And I don't care what he says now. Gregg, knows that Brooks is in form. So what he wants him to change, that would be nice to actually know, instead of putting out some, of course, as usual, answer that doesn't answer anything. There you go.
And I think the answer that was in Meg's tweet would have been a more straightforward answer that he could have said windows ago. Said, hey, not shutting the door on Brooks, but he's got a couple things he needs to work on in order to be a viable option.
Yeah.
But the problem is we've gone windows of him saying, he's not in form. I like this guy right now over that guy. And and then all of a sudden he's in form and he's like, now what do I do?
There are two easy excuses for this that Gregg could do. One, right now, I have a good feeling about the chemistry in the locker room. And this isn't to say anything negative about John Brooks, but right now, that's the chemistry I want to keep. Okay, fine. Bruce used to say shit like that. We're like, okay, I get it. He isn't fitting in with the guys. Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Or, he could say, listen, we're going to play a certain high-tempo style going into the next window. And the center backs I'm going to need, because my backs are pushing up left and right really high. I need them to be very quick. So there you go. He's not one of our fastest center backs. So right now, he doesn't fit in the picture. That doesn't mean he's not going to be an option for the World Cup.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God for Meg. She was the whistleblower in the Gregg and Brooks feud. And you know what? She did it in a very, nice way too. Like, she didn't I think they laughed about it when Sam asked her, so is there a problem there? And she said, she wouldn't say, but yeah, you knew. Let's say, Reyes, you are just a king, Jose.
Monster,
$20.
man. Absolutely.
I'll read whatever you put down here. I don't care what it is for $20.
I'll
do it shirtless. No, I won't. I don't want to gross anybody out.
Yeah, right, keyboard might clip that too. I want to see you do the truffle shuffle if we get high enough there, Jared.
Keyboard, be careful what you clip and send out. All right. I really can't be too mad. Really, Brooks, Roldan, and Areola are my only complaints, though not unexpected. I was very surprised by EPB, though. Dest being injured will increase my alcohol intake. Love you guys. Let's go, boys. Yes, let's do it. So let's go ahead.
Well, I guess really we're just bringing up a couple of things here, but as a whole, just like most any roster, like when Derek and I cover what we think Berhalter is going to do, and we get a roughly about 90% right usually, because Berhalter will always throw in a monkey wrench into our plans. But yeah, we can always predict it, so we're never really surprised for the most part. And quite frankly, similar to the people you brought up, Brooks, Roldan, Areola, and I could even throw in Sargent over Ferreira for that point. And there were even arguments saying, you look at Sargent, who's got in the last 6 games, he got 2 goals and 1 assist. Pepe for the last 6 games has 0 goals and 0 assists. So I mean, you can make the argument, but right. I mean, I don't think this roster is about as good as it could be given our injury circumstances.
Well,
we'll go from there.
There's a few weird ones.
There are a couple, absolutely.
But
those are the monkey wrenches that he's throwing in our plans.
I mean, to be fair, Roldan has been playing really well in the CCL. Let's see how well he does tonight at 10 p.m. when they have to fend off the Mexican club team with a 3-0 head start. Just like last night, the Rebs bombed in their 3-0 head start.
Yeah.
Played like they had their head jammed up their assholes. So
that was frustrating to watch.
And they lost. I know it was. We were watching it together and texting back. We're like, what the fuck is going on here? What's Bruce doing?
Well, we're not quite to the goalkeeper talk real quick. I didn't want to bring this up because I don't want to lose this comment.
Yeah, let's do any comments we need to do before we move on to the roster.
So Tamala Killer says, according to Brian Schroeder, Chicago declined to release Slonina because of a knock for the U20s. Well, I mean, he wasn't included in the U20s. They took out Chris Brady and Barto from Fulham. Bordeaux, sorry, it's close enough. And you say potato, I say French fry. I guess I don't know. And okay. Given Stefan's reemergence back to Man City, I feel like if US were to have called in Slonina, say over Johnson, then we're really, for Chicago's sake, we'd be looking at playing our 3rd string goalkeeper because Chris Brady's down with the U20s. Slonina would have been here, and then we're like, this is rough.
Yeah, but is your 3rd keeper like a 15-year-old at this point?
that was a trajectory we were going. No, he's much older. He's at least in his late 20s to 30s area, if I recall correctly.
If I haven't hammered this home enough, I do want to hammer home the fact that ESPN sucks donkey dick. They were horrible. Their coverage was horrible. Their give a shit level was at like 1 out of 10. They stretched us along, but never mentioned it would come up. And I actually texted Tack earlier today. I said, Tack, I know you got your show scheduled for, 6 o'clock, but I'm just warning you, they're going to drag this shit out because it's not important. They're going to talk about fucking Baker Mayfield for 20 minutes first. And then they're going to wax and be ejaculatory about the basketball. So there's that.
The youth softball tournament in the Pacific Northwest, just random shit.
Anything. They'll cover it all before they get to soccer. And then they'll give 12 and 15 seconds to do this thing and talk like this and say this and that. And guys, this is what we're really, and says nothing really for the most part. He just generally, that's what he's got to do. It's on ESPN, right? Sports Center. So he's got to be as general as possible because most people that really care about soccer, they don't follow ESPN. Maybe ESPN FC. You could have had those jokers cover this. It would have been funny at least. But no, can't have them do that. I'm really embarrassed for U.S. Soccer that they agreed to do this. I don't know what they think they were gaining. I don't think what were they gaining? Nothing. All the real fans wanted the goddamn roster yesterday.
Not only that, but all the real fans are here.
You think this magic announcement on ESPN's won you over some fans tonight, Michael Kammerman? Because it didn't. All right. Although I don't think that's his decision. It's more of a marketing thing. That would come from the marketing department. So I don't want to bust Michael's balls. So I'm gonna recant that statement. Especially since he's now going around calling himself the turd, which is really embarrassing.
I was waiting for you to say it. Michael, if you're listening to our show,
yeah,
keep up the good work, man.
Yeah. Hey, listen, and we want to clarify, when we first called you the turd, it's just because I couldn't remember your name. And I was like, who's the turd in the background? Because we couldn't remember his name. And it's not like you're an actual real turd. I'm sure you're a human being and you're a nice person. But I do notice you haven't been turding it out in the background much anymore.
I will say the reason your filler was even called him the turd was because he kept filling in fun statistics in between questions that kind of made Berhalter look good, even when he's not being good. And you're it's one of those things like when you talk about Lawless and you're like, well, Lawless had this idiotic comment. Oh, what a moron! He's not really a moron. I mean, you might think he might be, but I
don't think he's a moron.
It's just how people talk now. It's just like, oh God, that really pissed me off of the turd, but this,
and just
come on, let's roll.
Michael, just so you know, if you do watch this, Pete had nothing to do with coming up with that nickname for it. Okay, so don't blame him. It was us. If you want to come after somebody, which I don't think you're coming after anybody in particular, but that was us. We did that. All right. Yes. I can't say where it happened. I can't say with whom.
I couldn't tell if it was sarcastic, a little snidey, or if it was humor. Because I would like to think that it was humor.
Right.
I'd like to think he's got a sense of humor.
I just don't want any of the other shows who've used that terminology to think that they're the ones responsible for it. We did it. So blame us. If you want to get mad at somebody, get mad at us.
Michael, come on the show anytime. We'll talk. We'll talk it out. Hash it out.
Don't even encourage that.
Come on.
That would just be horrible. He should go. I think he should go on a show he feels comfortable going.
I would love it if he came onto our show and where we have like the names, like I've got like the Brett and you've got Derek or whatever. If he came on with the turd, I mean, it would be a fucking legend if he did that.
He would. I would
Absolutely.
Forgive him for all of the. Gregg Berhalter is the first U.S. men's national team coach to win this many games in a season with a team that's average age is under the age of 24. Thank you. That's the narrative that I think you should all lead with in your next articles. Okay, now on to the next question. All right. So
about ESPN's coverage, Jose Lopez.
It's March Madness, babe.
March Madness, babe.
I'll say whatever for $1.99. I'll even say that. Did you guys see Doyle starting 11? Oh God, did we bring that? Did we bring that tonight? Did you?
I'm sure I can find it.
Did you screen capture that?
No, I'm sure I can find it. Hold on.
I'm calling Doyle tomorrow. Well, actually, I'm going to have to call his old friend who used to work at. So we've met Matt before. We met him in a hotel where we did a big interview with them about the launch of Indy 11 and the Brickyard Battalion. And who was the guy we did it with? Freeman.
Freeman, yes, he went out. He went out and took a different job that's not soccer related now.
I always forget his Jonah Freeman. Yeah. So Jonah invited us. They were in Indianapolis. We went and did the interview. Matt was in the room. He didn't say much because it was like just Jonah, I think, interviewing us. But Matt was there, and he was really nice to us. And I love those guys. It was fun hanging out with them, fun talking about soccer with them. But his starting 11 is practically, I don't know if he's fallen and couldn't get up or hit his head on something. But this is just, there's no way this is happening. Doyle's at Mexico. Well, let's just start at the beginning. Sargent didn't make the team.
Well, I mean, let's be fair to Doyle here. This was done at the beginning of the week. So this is pure speculation.
Pomacall? Fucking Paxton Pomacall? Has he been watching FC Dallas for like the last season and whatever they've done this season so far? Paxton Pomacall. Talk about living in Disney fucking fairyland. That's not happening any way you slice it. DeJuan Jones is a player I like, but what kind of weed can you possibly be smoking to think that he makes this roster and then starts at Azteca? I'm sorry, Matt. You blew this one, man. I mean,
yeah, there's definitely some questionable things here.
I just looked at that and went,
I do want to preface this and say that Doyle also attached his article to it, and he basically talked about how this lineup is basically the bench, and the important games were going to be against Panama and Costa Rica. Man. So he threw the bench at Mexico. And, quite frankly, you look at Robinson, you look at Long, Cannon, Areola, Aronson, Acosta. Those are all players you would expect to be there.
No. This is total surrender, Brett. That's what this lineup is. This is
surrender. This is we don't want to battle for a point in Azteca when we got more important games coming up. We should address every game as if we can win.
You're going to play three midfielders who've never played with each other before, ever. They don't even probably know who each other.
Did Acosta and Busio play during Gold Cup?
Yeah, okay. Fine. A couple times. A handful of times at best. Busio, Acosta, Pomacall.
I don't know. I wouldn't even know where to begin with that.
That's just a vortex for complete incompetency right there on the screen. And DeJuan Jones he doesn't know a World Cup qualifier from his own asshole. Why would you put him in there?
Mm-hmm.
This is exactly, Regalio. This is throwing in the towel. And it's very much an MLS kiss ass list because Busio's a former MLSer, Areola's an MLSer, Aronson's a former MLSer, Pomacall's an MLSer, DeJuan Jones is an MLSer, Miles Robinson's an MLSer. I mean, look at them all. Cannon's a former MLSer, Long, who's played 2 games for NY.
Sargent's the only one. That's not.
Yep.
Everybody else has been.
So he still gets a boner for Sargent somehow. But boy, he couldn't have read the tea leaves worse than this.
Why didn't he start Ferreira? That's a bigger question.
I guess if it says Doyle's Mexico picks on the top somewhere, I'm getting sick of these lists. I don't really give a fuck. I want your assessment of what you think is really going to happen. Not some Disney World shit. I'm sick of Disney World shit.
This is basically what we alluded to in the last show, the whole fairy tale aspect, and this is what he would do, and he's not addressing how Gregg would take it.
Well, I want to play a 3-6-1. Can I just do that? Can I pull that out of my butt and create a fucking lineup that people will look at and go, oh yeah, Derek's right. We should play a 3-6-1, Steve Sampson style, baby. Let's do it.
It was brought up on Twitter during this whole fiasco that when has Berhalter ever played a team and then made mass line changes the next game and won?
Never.
Absolutely
zero.
So somebody brought up the fact that after the Panama game, we did mass changes and we won the Costa Rica game. And I brought the point like, no, all Gregg did was go back to the same team that beat Jamaica prior to losing in Panama.
Speaking of this theme, by the way, exactly. This is so ridiculous.
Oh, man,
all right, so I watched the Kay Golazo coverage, and we love Jimmy, we love Heath. They had Charlie Davies on, and they talked about at length at one point about Gio Reyna playing in the fucking 8, playing at 8 in the midfield. And no one said, no, that's not going to happen. No, not one of the 3 guys said, no, Gregg doesn't do that. Gregg's not going to do that. He's going to play one of the 7s. And by the way, they called the 7s 10s. Those are Gregg's inverted 10s. I'm like, no, they're not. Weah is a real 7. Pulisic wants to or should be a real 7. He's not an inverted 10.
The only reason he's checking back. Yeah, the only reason he's checking back is because he feels he's not getting the ball enough.
He's bored.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Guys, just give me the ball. Give me the ball.
It's just so frustrating. I probably shouldn't even talk about it because these are three guys that know their stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think, just take on the big issues, man. Take them on, head on. We all know Gregg's not playing a 10. So let's quit pretending he does, because he doesn't. And he's not gonna. And Aaronson's not going to play in the midfield, and Brayna's not going to play in the midfield because we don't play a CAM. Period.
Yep.
Period.
I brought this to your attention before the show started.
Tack seems to think Gio can play. I know he's wrong. We just disagree. It's one of those times we're just going to disagree.
Well, and it's not that he couldn't play in the midfield. I don't think he's going to be able to play. I don't think he'd play the 8 that Berhalter wants well enough.
Hell no. He's not going to play a box-to-box 8.
Yeah.
There's no way. He doesn't have the motor that McKennie has. I mean, he's going to last 5 seconds anyhow because he hasn't played a lot.
And he gets back on the defense for Dortmund, but he predominantly stays up higher.
They don't play a whole lot of defense at Dortmund.
Yeah, that's very true.
All right, so that's all I got to say. And so when he gets back, he kind of gets back. I've seen him play a few games where he does get back and play defense, but it's usually in the middle of the front 2/3. After that, he's not really going that far back. He won't. Mm-hmm. He just doesn't go back that far. I mean, if he does, he jogs back that far. So I just don't know why you would. In fact, that would be a grand experiment to play Aaronson or Reyna as a 10 or in the 8 slot. That's an experiment at this point. And let's look at how well Berhalter's experiments have worked out so far. Poorly. And I hope he knows that too. And Gregg would rather play a 4-3-3 all day than experiment again. One would hope. Because at least everyone on the team knows how to play that now. Well, at least most of the people he's called up here. Man, I'm irritated tonight.
Makes for great content, Derek. Hey, we're almost 33 minutes into this. Let's get through Brooks. We're not even to the lineup or the roster. Well, let's talk about the rest of Brooks' comments here.
Oh, there's more.
Yeah, we only got through one.
Oh my God, he made multiple comments. Okay,
so he goes on. Go ahead, continue.
I accept this as the coach's decision, but I won't accept that I can't change this before the final World Cup roster selections. There should be no questions about my desire to play for this team. My plan is to fight as hard as I can to make it back to the U.S. men's national team. Well, apparently, Gregg isn't informing you exactly what all the tiny things you need to fix in order to get back on the. I don't know what you're going to fight. What fight are you fighting? What part are you fixing to get on the U.S. men's national team? I guess it wasn't very clear.
Doing sprints all week.
There should be
faster.
He said there should be no questions about my desire.
So what aspect of Brooks's game really needs to change? It's his pace, because you can't say it's his positioning. You can't say it's his distribution. He's got all that.
Yep.
What he's not is he's not a fast center back. Plain and simple.
Yep. So I mean, I guess he's not getting the straight scoop from Gregg.
I don't know. I think I accept this as a coach's decision is the key part of this quote.
And that he can't change this before
I'm
the
back
World
in
Cup's
form. I'm back in form, but this is the coach's decision, guys. You know.
I mean, he's being about as nice as he could possibly be about this, because there's 2 options here. Don't make a comment at all, or there's 3 options. Do this, don't make any comments at all, or fly off the fucking handle.
Burn the bridge.
Just burn the bridge, because it's looking pretty clear down the telescope that this isn't. And listen, folks, we told you this months and months and months and months ago, and we got it right. And of course, we got shit wrong too, but we got this one right. And I should never have gone back. And I'm not going to blame anyone in particular, but yeah, I'm going to blame my source for the fact that Brooks and just general rational thought, because Gregg said form was the problem, and then he's in form.
Yeah, I was all in it. I was defending our stance all week on Twitter. Hey, before we move on to the next thing here, do you want to give Sam a shout out? Samuel,
it's Lessoing, I think. If I'm wrong, Samuel, let us know. Fun fact, our entire frat is watching your show together right now. Shout us out, and we will all shotgun a beer. We're shouting you out.
Shout out.
Shotgun the beer right now. Hey, but don't get too fucked up too fast. This show's not ending for another, like, probably.
We're nearing 40 minutes in. We're not even on the roster.
We haven't even started the roster yet. But here, I will drink with you guys. Here we go.
I will drink the water residue that's at the bottom of my cup since I drank it all.
You didn't get a refill before the show started? Are you insane?
This was pretty much full before the show started.
Well, man.
I had it up to here.
What are you drinking tonight?
I'm drinking bourbon.
Okay. Hey,
Bourbon.
Shotgunning a beer.
Advice.
I used to do that shit all the time. That shit was fun. I mean, and it really works. But
while on topic, I guess
don't shirtless question. Favorite beer. Okay, now that's all you're getting right there. Here's a shoulder. All right, so shirtless favorite beer.
Now all you have to do is take each one of those clips and crop them together, and you'll have a shirtless Derek.
My favorite beer is probably Pirate. It's a Belgian beer. It's really expensive. So if you haven't had it, no big deal. You can only find it in specialty stores. My second favorite is probably Le Fin du Monde, which you can get at stores. Well, you could. I don't know if you can anymore, depending on where you live. And it's a Canadian Belgian-style ale. I'm a Belgian beer guy. I gave up on lagers, except for German lagers, a long time ago. So that I don't drink any of that Milwaukee's Best or Coors Light or Miller or whatever. I mean, I'll drink it in a pinch if that's the only thing there.
If it's available, if it's what's available.
Right. To wet my whistle.
I'm in a minority of people when it comes to drinking beer. I feel.
No, you're not.
Because I feel like trying to convince people to drink an IPA is like pulling teeth.
Dude,
like, it's so bitter. It's so bitter.
I was always fine with IPAs until the bitter wars started. And everybody was trying to make the most bitter IPA possible. Like, I still like Two Hearted. I think Two Hearted is a really good IPA. A great beer. Yep. Yeah, it's a fantastic IPA.
Yep. Good stuff. I don't have a particular IPA that I prefer over the other ones. I'll do pale ales too. So, I mean, going Zombie Dust or Alpha King, all three Floyds. Those are great beers. I love Stone. Stone IPAs are delicious. I love me some Kentucky Bourbon Ale, which isn't necessarily an IPA, but that shit's good too. I mean, there's lots of good beer. Hazy IPA, that's a great IPA right there too. Yeah, that's a good one. There are lots of them that I can handle, but the ones that are trying to set the world record for the pucker factor on the bitter, no thanks. Hey, we are going to like what we like. Phi Kappa Phi is also watching. What is this? Guys, you got any sororities out there watching us? Hey, it's fraternity night. Oh, yeah. I don't think either Brett or I went. I know I didn't go to a fraternity, but it's nothing personal against them. I did not. I mean, I was an indie rock kid, so I was too busy making music. It looks like in our group, I'm not in the minority. It looks like there's plenty of people that love the IPAs. Here's one for you, Derek. Hell yeah, Casanova. Been using it as gas. It's cheaper. That's one way to ruin your engine real quick. All right, are we going to do this roster? How many questions do we got to go here? We got more? I mean, we got to go over some more quotes first. Let's do all the quotes for Brooks. Let's not leave any out. Brooks did not shut the fuck up today, did he? No. Is that where you're? Yeah. My American identity is at stake. An identity some have questioned over many years. We Americans have all been down and out at different times, but we always fight back, and I plan to do the same. I love it. He's really that's a great quote. That's a really good quote. And we make this argument anytime we talk about dual nats. Anybody who questions his Americanness is full of shit. Fuck off with that. Yeah, exactly. If you've got American citizenship, I don't care if you were born and raised in Germany and you visited New York City for a week once. You're still an American if you're an American citizen. I don't give a rat's ass. I grew up in Germany as a young boy. Exactly. And so I didn't even know what America was because I was born in Fort Knox. We spent a brief time in Florida. So by the time we got to Germany, I was 3.
So the first things I can remember is Germany. That's it. And you live there for a long time and go back again later on to Berlin, and you're 11 and you do it again. It's and then you have a German grandfather, a German mother, but you're still an American and you somehow know that. And I think it helped that I lived on an army base where the tanks used to roll by, on the streets as they were getting back from their testing and their whatever else they were doing at Erlangen base. But I like this from Brooks. It's a strong statement. But I don't think at any point Brooks or Berhalter are really getting to the crux of the matter. Like, what's the real issue? I want to know what it is, because I don't think it's his American identity. I don't think that's an issue. I don't think it's about the fact that he's got like these little tiddly things he's got to fix, like how he brushes his teeth and wipes his ass.
Quite frankly, this could be kind of a poke at Bruce Arena.
How so?
Well, Bruce Arena had that comment last cycle about the Americans abroad, the players who are Americans from too many, not enough Americans from U.S. or whatever. I could pull up the quote. I'd have to find it, but him and he made a comment. Maybe somebody could actually quote it here.
So the part where he says identity, some have questioned over many years.
Yeah, so I wonder if that's kind of because even Jermaine Jones came out and said that Bruce Arena was the worst coach he's ever had. So I mean, it could be that kind of is the talking point for him.
Well, there was all that commentary during Klinsmann's days that there was a divide between the Americans and the just German Americans, like Chandler and Brooks and Jones and all the German guys that spoke German all hung out together, and that was one clique. And then there was another clique. I don't know if I believe that or not. I've never talked to anybody who could confirm that 100% that was a thing. But, hey, we hang out with what we're familiar with. So, if, there was a lunch room for everybody and, all the German American guys sat at one table and all the American guys sat at the other table. I mean, I'm sure, or the guys that didn't speak German spoke at it, they sat at a different table. I get it because, you want to be around people who understand what you're going through. Yeah. And communicate the way you can communicate. So like the jokes go off better and, the camaraderie, but then it does build a divide in the room. That's funny.
Germans and jokes. Yeah. Good one, Derek.
Yeah. Not a lot of German comedians, but I have been living in the States for, a long time now. So I haven't been back to Germany for a very long time. My grandfather died but he came and visited us like every year for a long time. But I can't remember what year he died, but it was a while back. So
just Frank likes your fake German accent.
I appreciate it.
It's very good. Yeah.
It's very good. All right. Any more, or does Brooks not shut up? Jesus Christ.
I think that may have been it, actually.
He's right. Brooks started the last 10 games, and I felt like we've covered this Brooks issue like as much as like with a microscope. Looking forward to commenting on John Anthony Brooks this Sunday for the Bundesliga. Okay, where he'll be playing and starting for Wolfsburg. There you go. And here's the other thing. He's like, fuck Wolfsburg. I'm out of here. So something's not right there either. And, maybe he's a prickly pear. But you know what? Jermaine Jones was a prickly pear. It's just how do you handle the prickly pears, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that matters. And maybe Berhalter's just not good at handling prickly pears, and that's why thus no Hoppy and no Brooks, although Hoppy hasn't really earned it. I mean, honestly, I was surprised when I was sent that insider info that he could be on the roster. Well, he's not on the roster. He's on the backup roster. I guess that's better than nothing, right? Why do you always get to laugh before I read the comment? It's not fun. Fair. I mean, it's not fair. Liam G, you guys dragging out this roster harder than Sports Center.
In fairness, at least we're talking soccer content, guys.
We are. I mean, we briefly went off the rails, but I think we're back now because a lot of this isn't going to take a long time. Samuel, you were just rocking it tonight. Derek, you are literally the first person to nail the pronunciation of my last name first try. How? Don't know what's better, correct pronunciation or no legit. I'm going to go with pronunciation because I don't want to shit on legit. But boy, he played like shit last night in Mexico.
We're still waiting for that ball to come out of orbit. Sam, there's a reason why I let Derek take these, because I would butcher everybody's last name, even people with the last name of Cook. Guarantee I'd butcher it.
And I've lived in Europe and visited Europe, so there's that too. So I'm a linguistics. I had to take linguistics, and I'm focused on.
By the way, Sam, thanks for the 10 on that one. But
hey,
Tack, don't spam our chat with this shit.
Tack, did you miss the part early in the show where I disagreed with you on us playing a 10 or Reina playing in the 8s?
I feel like at minimum that should put all the naysayers away from this being an echo chamber. We don't always agree. Guys.
We don't always agree, and it's completely fine.
Derek and I don't always agree.
No. I mean, that would be boring if we always did. So, so I don't agree with that. I don't think there's any chance in fucking hell, snowball's chance in hell, that Reina plays in the midfield. I just not going to happen. Under Berhalter, yes, of course. We're dealing with Berhalter. Gregg's just he's got his plan, and he's never used Reina in the 8 position, and he needs a box-to-box guy, and he doesn't know if Reina will know what the fuck to do with it. So I just don't think it's going to happen. If it happens, it'll probably be Aronson before Reina, honestly, because at least Aronson tried it once, and that didn't work out real well. Did it? No. So they make up a fake narrative that we always agree and that we are toxic. It's a narrative some former players and media try to push. Yeah, and we're trying to help stamp that out.
Yeah, we're all Gregg Berhalter. Hashtag Gregg Berhalter out.
Well, we know a lot of the guys in the old school community, and we're trying to stomp that shit out. So hopefully that ends, but they are threatened, obviously, because people rather listen to us than listen to them, honestly. Or listen to Tact and 11 Yanks. I mean, we're infants at this stage, but those guys, they've been motoring on for I don't know how long Tact's been going on, but Pete's been doing it for I think about 2.5 years now, and he's rocking the house. So yeah, people would rather listen to that. More Breck Shea content, man.
You mean Shea getting swallowed by an anaconda wasn't enough?
Yeah, apparently it wasn't. But I did see who posted the
Chris Gary.
Chris Gary. That's awesome.
He posted the reasons why. YouTube asked him why he liked that video, and he's like heartwarming, educational.
He clicked every single box, every single good box.
Oh man!
All right, let's get to these fucking goalkeepers, and then you can intersperse it. But I mean, this isn't surprising. As soon as
that need to be bigger? Can you see that?
Yeah, I can. As soon as that's what she said. So
good lord. It's not getting any bigger.
Yeah, that's what she said. Stefan, Stefan, as soon as it was announced he was healthy, we knew he was in, and Slonina was out.
Absolutely.
So this is not surprising. The real question is, who starts? And
no, that's not a question either. It's Horvath.
You think so?
Horvath.
I think so.
He's like 6+ games starting for Nottingham now.
I think it's 5. Now. I think it's 5, but still, I think it could be 6.
I thought I saw on Twitter somebody said starting for the 6th game or whatever.
Did I miscount a game?
Possible.
Yeah, it's very.
We know it's not Johnson.
You know what? It could be 5 games and a cup game that I didn't consider. So there you go. But it's 6 games, so I think you got to go with Ethan Horvath, unless you're Gregg and you're a little brittle in the shorts, and you just kind of I don't want to. My shorts to break like glass, so I'm just gonna go with the guy I'm really comfortable with. But Ethan Horvath's played well for us. But I mean, we'll get into the starting. We're not gonna soak up this show with the starting 11. All right, boy, we'll be here all night for that.
We're here. We're already 50 minutes in, guys.
Yeah,
we're like goalkeepers.
so let's break it down. The defenders by left back. We got Robinson.
By left back, okay. We got Robinson.
That's it.
That is it.
Because
he did it again. Second window in a row. He doesn't bring it back up to the left back. Now the Dest is gone. Who are we going to play as an option for Robinson at that point? You could throw, I guess, Yedlin and Cannon have all played left back at some point in their life, maybe their U8 careers. But we have no left back option.
This is my Gregg. Well, in the past, Yedlin and Cannon both filled in at left back before. Were they any good at it?
And then this is my Azteca Starbucks cup right here. That's all you're gonna get from
It's yeah.
Stupid.
So,
Stupid.
But he did mention as the replacement for Dest, who is going to be out injured, it's probably Bello or Scally. So we'll see what happens. I think, yes, he did mention Moore, who played his first game in 4 months for Tenerife. So I don't know if that's going to be it. Vines has been in and out of the lineup. He had a horrible game not long ago.
So,
I mean, absolutely ridiculously bad game for Antwerp. So
we're at a point now where we're talking about Bello, who's notched a couple of games in Bundesliga. Good work. Or Scally, who's been consistently playing all season. Minus a month there.
It could be Bello. He fills in the left back spot that Dest usually would back Robinson up with.
But so would Scally in that point, though.
Yeah, I guess Scally
in fact, I would argue and say Scally would do a better job at left back than Dest would, because he's played that position a number of times.
I was just surprised to hear Gregg even mention Scally's name, since he hasn't called him in like 3 months.
I wonder if that's going to classify as a phone call. Like he mentioned him on TV.
Yeah.
Okay.
maybe he used, sent him a text message or something. We'll see what happens. Let's see the extent where he had one of the third assistant coaches text him a quick little thing. Hey, would you be open to maybe being on the reserve squad? We'll see what happens there.
This is the key point right here, is that Scally could fill the left and the right.
Absolutely. Yes.
And quite frankly, should be the alternative option to either Dest or Robinson at this point.
Yeah. And
if one of them goes out, he's in. That should be it.
And Bello didn't have the best of greatest of games last game either. Wasn't horrible.
He hasn't had that many great. Are you talking about for
Arminia Bielefeld?
Okay.
Yes.
I was going to say, for the United States, he hasn't had too many good games, period.
Yes.
He's had some okay games, but nothing great. Nothing.
But Scally, at least Bello knows the system. Scally would be like throwing, for Gregg.
Whose fucking fault is that?
I know. But still, for Gregg, throwing Scally in a game would be like, okay, let's say you have a great setup and it's a bunch of, raccoons that all know all the tricks at the carnival. And then you're like, shit, one of the raccoons just died and you had to throw a rat in. Honestly, the rat would have no fucking clue what the thing is. First, he's a rat, not a raccoon, because he's been around all the raccoons, or he's just not doesn't know the system. Or you throw like a baby raccoon in with the other big raccoons who've never got a chance to play for Gregg and don't know his expectations and have only watched his PowerPoints so many times over.
I really got to question the amount of educational purposes or understanding that the wingbacks really have to know. Because from my understanding of watching Dest and Robinson, it's, hey, when we're on the defense, you defend. When we're on the attack, get your ass up that wing.
Well,
that's what it seems like to me.
Kind of.
And then, hey, if Robinson's going up, maybe you should sit back a bit. Something like that.
Kind of. Yeah, that would be ideally how that would work. But I think it's a little more complicated than that based on the constipation we see when they all get bunched up together on either wing.
Yeah, I think the constipation occurs from our midfield and our attacking trio.
Yes.
I think that's where the constipation occurs.
Absolutely it does. Absolutely.
So, I think Scally would be I don't think you'd really add any more to the constipation than Robinson or Scally or Dest does.
Hey man,
I take Cannon and insert player here, Lennon. I'm surprised Lennon wasn't included in this roster.
Did you say Lemon or Lennon?
Lennon. Every time I tweet that or I text it, it automatically autocorrects to Lemon. And I'm like, no, Don Lennon's not going to be playing for us.
Yeah, that's like when I tried to text you today about Altidore, and or last night, and it changed it to Antidote. I'm like, Antidote even close to Altidore, motherfuckers. The fuck is this spell check?
In fairness, spell check's probably looking at what the fuck's an Altidore.
All right, so we got here are the wingers in general. We've got Cannon, Yedlin. Which one of those two starts out the right first game? Yedlin. I think it's Yedlin.
Absolutely.
And we're not going to go into starting 11 tonight. It's all right. It's a bit much. We're just going through this. And then the fucked up thing, Aaron Long, who's played 2 games or 3 games for NYRB or RBNY, depending on how you tickle your own tanglers. Along with Eric Palmer Brown, who again doesn't have a whole lot of experience with Gregg, but
he's got one window. He's got one friendly window.
He's playing fairly well for Troyes, so I guess he's coming in, and we all know that Gregg loves Aaron Long.
Yeah.
Not surprising.
We predicted that too.
Yes,
We did not predict EPB, and we did not predict Sands.
No. Miles Robinson and Walker Zimmerman is your other CBs. That was totally predictable. In fact, I think we had him in our starting 11 when we were just jackassing around about it.
Mm-hmm.
The real surprise is indeed James Sands, who hasn't played much for Rangers, and he's listed as a defender. He got 20 minutes today, so he did get to play, and they lost, so that doesn't help. And he didn't play that well, so that doesn't help. So he's there, I guess, just for utility. And again, we already mentioned it earlier. That's not a good reason just to have a player, just because he can, tickle every dick. We don't need somebody who can tickle every dick. We need people who can fill in specific spots. So there's that.
Well, and I don't know, man. In the same house is a center back who's been playing consistently all year long, and CCV didn't get a sniff.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you're gonna
what Sands brings is versatility. He can play that 6, absolutely. And we talked about this back in the Gold Cup, that his position might just be the 6, more so than a center back. He's got to be like 5'6", 5'7", maybe.
He played a dual 6 today. I don't know. I mean, listen, there are a lot of things. I trust Sands in defense, but I don't trust him in distribution. I don't trust him in knowing who the right guy to pass to is next. And I don't trust that he really has been playing enough with Gregg to know what the fuck's going on. So, I mean, if you need a backup center back, go with CCV and give him, acclimate him to the he's not going to play. You don't have to play him, but you can get him acclimated.
What we found out with both Ream and Brooks at this point, because I'm not sure why Ream wasn't included, but outside of the same reason why I think Brooks probably isn't included, is that CCV, from what I've seen in the past, now I haven't seen him at Celtic by any means, but in the past, he was never really the most fleetest of foot, He was a pretty slow center back. Mind you, he was still very good in other aspects.
Yeah.
Similar to any slower center back, you got to be good at defending and distributing and everything like that. But if you're positioning, but if you're slow and you're not fitting that Berhalter mold, I think you're going to get kind of fucked.
I got delayed there because my brother just texted me and said, "We are an embarrassment." I can only imagine he means IU. So we must be playing a game right now that I don't know about in the March Madness thing. So
I got him at least moving out of the first round, just for being it from IU.
Yeah, I can't find it. The quarterfinal though with Seattle started and versus Lyon.
Yeah, a little while ago, somebody said that Lyon had 83% possession.
That doesn't surprise me, but it's not something I worry about as long as Seattle's ready to play a low block and play real good defense.
Sure.
But I don't know where this IU fucking game is. This is really frustrating. Apparently it's on, and I don't know where
it's 0-0 currently for Seattle.
Yes, I did know that.
So, please, Morton.
All right. So, never seen a great Sands performance. I haven't seen a great one. I've seen a good one.
I think his performances in the Gold Cup during the group stage were good. Were very good. But
okay. I wouldn't go with very, but
I think it was very good up until the point when Zimmerman got injured in the Canada game, and at that point he got exploited. And so at that point, from that point on, I don't think he's had a good game for the United States, but he hasn't really had that many games, period. But no, but quite frankly, just we're taking somebody who's not getting consistent playing time at Rangers over somebody who's consistently playing in Bundesliga for the last 10 games and doing very well.
Yeah, but again,
I mean, he might not fit your mold, but at least bring him there for a number 5.
It's a
number 5 option.
It's a versatility thing. That's what I'm breaking down to.
We have other players who can play the 6, and we'll get to the midfield here in a second.
Kind of like you're going to play De La Torre there. He's only played a dual 6.
It doesn't matter. I don't care. I think he's more. He'll be more. He'll be a better option at the 6 than Sands would at this point.
He's never played Gregg's tricky dick 6. I mean,
Sands barely has. Sands played it one half, and he got yanked.
If we're going to play a 4-2-3-1, fine. But we're not. And anybody who's still imagining that's a possibility, we're not playing a 4-2-3-1. Not happening. And I will come here and eat crow like a motherfucker if that happens. Because there's no evidence that Gregg would do that.
I don't know
None.
if anybody's really saying we're going to play 4-2-3-1 right now.
Oh, yeah.
Right now.
No, not right now.
I don't know why this got brought up.
Not right now. Because, you know what? I would be fine playing De La Torre as a dual 6, but not as a single 6. That makes me nervous because it's not something he's done for us before. So let's say Acosta.
Again, neither has Sam's. He's played a half and got yanked at halftime.
But I think we'll be fine. I mean, we've got Acosta.
Sure. I don't think we're going to even rely on Sands at the 6.
We've got Adams. So let's
more awkward.
Yeah, let's move on to the midfield. We've got Acosta. We got Adams.
Yeah.
I don't know why Sands is there. It's stupid. It's a stupid thing when you got CCV who's playing as well as he had. So there you go. You could have fooled me that IU had a Division I team. Are they doing that bad? What's the score, Eric C? I can't check. I'm busy doing a show, but my brother keeps texting the shit out of me about this game. And it's annoying because I've got to focus on the show. So midfielders.
Holy crap.
Holy shit.
Oh, wow.
Who are they fucking playing?
St. Mary's.
Oh, yes. My God.
Oh, wow.
You are fucking sucking. No wonder my brother said this is an embarrassment.
I mean, I know they're ranked 5th and all in the tournament, but
I don't care.
Fucking Lord.
You don't lose by 41 points. That's just, 31.
No,
31 points. That's embarrassing. Midfielders, Kellen Acosta, Tyler Adams. It's kind of a little bit of surprise for Gianluca Busio, but I guess, with Kenny out, somebody's got to fill in that gap.
And not only that, but I mean, let's be happy because he took the place of Leggett at that point.
Yes, Leggett's not on here. Luca De La Torre, Yunus Musa, Christian Roldan. I mean, I'm not going to complain because this is totally predictable.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the midfield is probably the one position or spot that you can sit there and say, I know exactly who's going to be included for the most part.
Yep.
Like I said, Busio over Leggett kind of surprised me, but maybe
that's the only one we got wrong.
Yeah.
So, and we may have had an extra midfielder. I don't remember.
Might have. That looks like a small number. What is it, 6?
Because the forward section here is overpopulated.
As many forwards as we do defenders.
I mean, you got Brendan Aronson, who is going to play a 7 for us. Not a 10. Kegalazo, we do not play inverted 10s. You could call Pulisic an inverted 7, 10, but that's not what he's supposed to be doing generally in the system that Gregg plays. Now, he does want Pulisic to cut in certain instances, but Weah plays way out wide, and that's really served us well. He is not a 10. Weah doesn't play as a 10. Now, if the ball's all the way on the left side of the field and Weah's playing the right wing, and we need 2 guys in the box, yes, Weah's going to cut in and get in the box with whoever the center forward is. But this whole idea that we play 10s, all right, I'm going to shut up about it because it really was frustrating watching that.
Quite frankly, I think our 9 plays more of a 10 than our wingers will, because our 9 always gets sucked back further, check it to the ball.
Especially if it's Ferreira. Yes, you're right.
I would expect that with Ferreira. I mean, I'd feel like that'd be the reason you'd play Ferreira is you want him to do that.
It's like a false 9-10.
Even when we had Sargent, we had DK, we had PFOC, and even with Pepe to an extent, our 9 just checks way too far back, and then we get into the attack, and our 9 are just sprinting up the field to try to get into that box for that cross, and it never gets there. This is why our strikers, our center striker generally doesn't score.
I just spilled a fourth of a drink on my lap.
Silly bastard.
It's really cold in my crotch right now. All right. So let's review this. We got Brendan Aronson. Okay. Yep. He's going to be one of the 7s, one of the wingers. Paul Arriola, one of the wingers. Jesus Ferreira gives him the option to play a false 9. Jordan Morris, one of the wingers. Jordan Pivak.
Wait, I got something for Peacock.
Oh my God. Pivak made the team. Oh, wow.
Greg on white Peacock and no Sargent. It's just goals. So if that's the case, again, why is Ferreira here? Why is Pepe here over Sargent? In the last 6 games, Sargent has 2 goals and 1 assist. So he's had productivity and not as a center striker. So again, whatever. We assumed that Sargent was going to be there over, say, a Ferreira. We thought it was going to be Pepe, Sargent, and Peacock. Well, I thought Peacock was going to be there. You thought Ferreira was going to be there.
Honestly, if Greg really believes that Ferreira and Pepe are more skilled players, but I don't think he does. I think he knows that Sargent's a better player, but I don't think he believes that Sargent has a nutsack, and I think that's the issue. I really do. I can't think of any other reason. I mean, we've criticized Sargent a lot here for not having a big pair and not getting out there. He busts his balls out when he goes out and plays, but he doesn't have that. I mean, if you could blend Hoppy and Sargent. Oh, Morris injured.
Yep, they've motioned for the stretcher.
Oh, for Christ's sake. Really? Let me put the game up. Let's see if he goes out on a stretcher.
Do you think Sargent gets called in from the reserve list now, or do you think Hoppy does?
You would think. I don't think Gio Cucini made the reserve list. Man, they're dropping like flies today. That's all I got to say.
Yes, Sargent has been playing right wing mostly in a 4-3-3, or he's been playing the Landon Donovan or Dempsey role in the 4-2-2-2 when they played with Ida at Norwich.
I don't see I don't see Morris on the ground. So if he's been stretchered off already, somebody let us know. I've got the game up now though, so I'm following, and it is still 0-0, and Seattle are
so
still.
It looks like the chat is split between Sargent and Hoppy. I think, quite frankly, I don't know. I'm torn here. Who would you bring in, Derek?
I bring in Hoppy because he's got balls, and he'll give you maximum effort just like Sargent, but he'll also have he'll be selfish when he needs to be selfish and score a goal.
I guess that's a great way of looking at it right there.
Sargent will.
Sargent's definitely match fitness or match fit. So there's a bit of a difference, but I mean, you were saying last show that Hoppy's quite fit, and we wouldn't necessarily be relying on Hoppy as a starter for 90 minutes either. So it doesn't really matter, I guess.
So if Sargent has longer than 3 seconds to think about scoring a goal, he fucks it up. If you give him an insta-second where he has to do some spazzy move to make it happen, he'll score. Like he'll put it on the head or he'll do a little scorpion kick or whatever. But man, every time this year when it's like, oh, he's got the ball. He's got space. He's got some time. He fucks it up. He hits it wide. He's missed a lot of shit. Hoppy, he didn't freeze up. That dude has no conscience whatsoever. So there's that. And I'd like my assassins to have
here's the other argument, I guess.
I'd like my assassins to have no conscience. Okay? Hoppy doesn't play. Sargent plays in the EP. We know that, Sam. I'm just saying, at this point, I'm going by Berhalter's, backup list. And I get it, but Sargent does play, but I mean, he had one really good game and he's had a lot of bad games. Hoppy has really nothing for us to judge him by.
I mean, he's had some bad performances. I think he's been relatively adequate, if not slightly above adequate for Norwich. I think Norwich as a whole is bad.
Yes.
But I don't think Sargent has been a whole bunch of bad games -1,
He's not worse than everybody else on the team. He's one of the good guys sometimes, but that doesn't make
the problem behind Sargent and his play with Norwich at this point is they dropped $8 million on him expecting production.
Yep.
He hasn't produced. And that's not you can't argue that point.
It's not all his fault, but it is partly his fault.
There have been a number of chances that he should have put away.
Yep.
He should definitely have a lot more numbers now, and Norwich might actually be in a better position if he had put those away. Saying that, his time off the ball, or even on the wings and stuff like that. Once they
His
push him
work
out
rate,
wide, it's
all good.
all there. It's all there.
It's all good.
It's just
Yep.
his production level has just not been there. Period.
Listen, I take either one of them. I mean, I think that Sargent should be in this roster.
So I guess Seattle scored their PK.
Yep. And now there's something going on. So yeah, I mean, I would take both of those guys, and I would eliminate Areola.
Yeah, there you go. Win-win.
And yeah, I would eliminate Jesus Ferreira probably, or Pepe. One of the two.
It's gonna be Morris. It's gonna be Morris because if he's stretched off.
Oh, well, Morris is injured now. Yeah, so now it's
so
Morris and Areola. And I'd bring Hoppy and Sargent, both of them. I'd bring both of them.
What's fascinating is you bring both players in; they're going to be much more versatile and more creative than Areola would be. So winning, like I said, win-win.
And you're continuing to acclimate Hoppy into the team. And if you are Berhalter and you know the situation that Hoppy's in, where he's getting screwed in the ass on a regular and not starting, but
it looks like he's fine.
Okay, well,
maybe got stretchered off, but he's up and running around, I guess.
Scratch that then. I'm bringing Sargent and Hoppy over Areola and Ferreira, or Pepe. To me, Pepe.
Pick your poison.
He's static right now. Static. All right, where were we?
We're just talking about our strikers.
PFOC, yes. I mean, about time. Really, I was waiting for the excuse if he wasn't on here, but he made it.
I think Berhalter picked him because he didn't want to deal with the aftermath of not picking him. You have a guy who's got 13 plus goals, and your other striker options that he's paired up with in this roster that he's competing for time have not scored a goal this season. I don't know if Ferreira scored. I don't know that actually.
No.
So
not that I've
here
seen.
We are.
Yeah. Then Pulisic was, of course. And Reyna, all of us are celebrating that. Notice, for those of you fantasizing about Reyna playing in the midfield, he is listed as a forward. Come on, Kegalazzo, guys, get a grasp on this. We like you. Please grasp it.
In our, I guess I'd have to go back to the El Salvador game for the first window, but I don't recall if Aronson was listed as a forward or a midfield in that roster. Because he did play one of the eights against El Salvador.
Listed as forward, played as a midfielder one time.
There we go. It's possible.
Yep.
It's just unlikely.
Yeah, it's very unlikely. Like I said, this is not a time to fuck around and tiddlywink around and fiddle fuck around and experiment and try guys in new spots that they've never played before. This is serious shit. We're down to 3 games, guys.
Mm-hmm.
You start messing around and doing shit you've never done before, done. You're done. Because as soon as the guy doesn't totally understand his role because he's never played it before, and you're playing against Mexico and a Azteca, then you're screwed. You're screwed. All right.
Yeah. A couple guys I just went through a couple of quotes there. Basically just saying that Ferreira has not scored since October.
I didn't think so. I track every game he plays. My memory, I don't have the stats up. So I'm just based on my memory. No. Tim Weah. Yes, that was actually, I almost said Ream. I'm like, what? No, what the fuck would Tim Ream be in the forward section? But it's so small, it's almost unreadable. It would be the
opposition's defending a wet dream, quite frankly. They'd have to man mark Ream as an attacker. Like, oh, God, this is simple. Yeah.
Tim Weah was a lock, by the way, and I am surprised since Reyna made the roster that Tim Ream isn't there to be his mentor and his like sidekick guy who makes sure.
Maybe he's already reeled him in. That youthful fiery anger that he has, the angst.
I'm actually surprised we didn't bring more than 4 center backs. So
we brought 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we have 5.
Oh, you're counting Sands?
Yes. He's not going to play wingback.
Yeah, I don't think he plays at all, frankly.
Sick the kid.
Sick the kid. 199. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. What game would they sack GGG in this window? What game would they're not going to sack?
After not qualifying against Costa Rica.
Yep. We don't qualify, Greg's gone. We qualify, Greg stays. Those are the 2 options. It's pretty binary. It's 0s and 1s at this point.
It's been 0s and 1s since Nations League.
It's been 0s and 1s
Well,
since he got
I
hired.
guess let's take this back. It might have been different if Berhalter came in the first couple windows and hadn't won a game. Might have made a change then.
He would have needed to lose like 5 games in a row, honestly, before they would have kicked him out. He's in the in crowd. He's part of the clique, and they're in control. And you're just not going to get rid of Gregg. But I do think this is the end of our roster summation. I don't really have much more to say. We will do an 11, and we already have. But now that we actually know the roster, we got to do a new 11 for the game versus Mexico. And then after that, we'll reassess and we'll do one for Panama after that game is over. Then we'll be on Pete's show after Panama, so you have to check us out there. We're going to probably forego our show there and do a live one with Pete, which is great. We love hanging out with Pete. Please, Morton, his brother isn't going to fire him if we qualify. Well, his brother's not there anymore.
Is he not?
No.
No shit.
No. So there was a big, if you've been to like Glass Windows or what, a Glass Door, I can't remember what it's called. There were like a bunch of reviews, and yeah, he's been gone for a while. He's kind of was known as being like a baby tyrant at U.S. Soccer, and he finally lost his job because the culture there was so negative and so dark.
It's kind of ironic because Gregg is thought of as just being a giant baby. So.
He is kind of a big giant baby, isn't he? With his bald. No, I mean I'm not making fun of bald people. You're bald. I'm not gonna make fun of you. But he does look like a little baby. He looks like a little. Little
Here we go.
What?
So I know what you're gonna bring up. Is what I said.
Oh, penis head. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not Eraserhead. So, do we have any other questions or comments? Or are we at nearing 120? Are we close to being done here? I'm trying to think if there's anything else. We've covered the ESPN shitty ass coverage. Oh, by the way, thanks for everybody for like piling in on the merch all of a sudden. I mean, we're selling.
It definitely helps that we put it out an active link.
Yeah, I know. We had a broken link for like, I don't know, 5 months, 4 months. No wonder. So, yeah, we had somebody buy beer glasses today, another few shirts. And so it's tallying up. I think it's like 6 or 7 shirts now. And I mean, it's nice. I mean, we just got this thing working, thank God. I decided not to be a moron and figure out how to use Teespring because we'd done it and I just was bad at making it into a store and making it available to actual real human beings. So next time I'm here, I might be actually wearing some straight red card gear. So Filippo, you do not need to make straight red card gear. Yeah, we got it. It's done. We got it. Kentucky about to lose to St. Peter's. That's a shocker.
I'm looking at I was looking at my bracket and I was trying to think. It was like it's rare that all number ones make it out of like the first couple rounds. Usually one always flames out.
I thought Kentucky was 2.
Are they 2?
A 2.
They might be 2. You might be right.
2.
You might be right.
But still, I mean that holds true.
That kind of fucks up my my bracket a bit.
Yeah,
well, it'll fuck up a lot of people's brackets.
Indeed. Yeah, it will. But if we don't have any other questions, I think we give like 1 second here, and if we don't, let's just hope Seattle holds on tonight. Can they? I don't know. They better, because that game by the refs was just one last question. Will Tim Ream ever play for the U.S. men's national team again? At this point, it doesn't look like it. I think he's done mentoring Reyna or reining Reyna in.
I couldn't imagine Ream getting included before Brooks at this point. And
Long would need to be rehabilitated. I mean, he would need to break a leg or something like that.
And I guess one thing we have to consider here is that Berhalter may not necessarily be the coach after this winter.
What?
After
the World Cup?
Yeah. And Ream is what? Only like 42. I mean, he's got a couple years ahead of him.
We get out of the group stage, he's going to keep his job for at least 4 more years.
It's going to be the same thing. He's going to come back for a year. He'll play, not get any results, and then he'll get shit canned instead of doing their due diligence and looking for a new coach.
I know.
From the get-go.
I know.
And then we're going to rush it, and we're going to get some other schmuck I don't know.
I don't know if it'll be a schmuck, but it could be. You're right. We could get another schmuck. And, you know, I don't put it past U.S. Soccer at all, providing schmucks on the regular. Not that I'm saying Berhalter's a schmuck, but he ain't my pick. Wasn't my pick. And that's all I'm going to say about that. By the way, yeah, Dest is injured, if you didn't hear earlier. McKennie is obviously out. So that's done. No Gaga. So who does Brett think should start at Azteca? Another fetus. My bad. I know. I saw that.
You know what? I think we should call him Chris Brady from the U20s and play him instead.
I saw that on Facebook too. People calling him a fetus, and I'm like, God damn it! What have I done? But yeah,
I mean, he did Lord's work.
And I said, yeah, I mean, it's a metaphor. He's not a literal fetus playing goalie. Okay, so that's it, I think, right? So
I'm just scrolling through the Twitter feeds and just seeing if there's anything
new. We'll give it one last second. We don't want to end too soon.
I know we're only at 1:20. We're only at 1 hour and 21 minutes. We need to at least get to 1 hour and 24 minutes, guys.
At least
that's like our consistent time frame. But you know what? Nothing's popping out. I've been scrolling down for a bit here.
All right, you're all tired. You're all worn out from watching ESPN tonight.
You guys all watched TAC probably, and then you jumped over to Sam, and then now you're here with us.
Or you went to Kegelazo, or wherever you go.
It was like a solid 3 to 4 hours worth of entertainment there, guys.
Yeah, so thanks for hanging in, those that hung in with us tonight. It wasn't as frustrating as I thought it would be, but, you know, I'm easily perturbed. So don't take me as the level that you need to be at.
It's funny because you were a little more perturbed prior to even talking about the roster itself.
Yes. I'm a grouchy old man. So, anyhow, thank you for joining us. Make sure you like, subscribe, buy a t-shirt, man. Especially the ones with the fake Beavis and with the sort of new cartoon versions of Brett and I on the back, and then the front are the Straight Red Card logo. It's cool shit, man. We're waiting for ours to arrive anytime soon. So pretty soon we'll have the stuff. Now that I wanted to make a cap, that didn't.
As you can see, I've worn down my old merch quite a bit.
Oh yeah,
look how beat up and worn down that is.
Yep. I still have my Brickyard Battalion stuff up too as well.
I got mine ready for my my office when we finish our basement next month.
Sweet ass. All right.
All nice and decked out. It'll be good to go.
Make sure you also share it with your grandma and anybody else that you think would be like, they need to watch this show. And we'll be back with another segment where we take on a couple other issues, especially with the hoppy thing. And then we'll also discuss, I don't know. What else are we discussing, Brett? Do we have a fucking plan for this? I don't care. It doesn't matter.
I don't think we do, but we'll make it work.
We're going to just come up with shit, and we're going to talk about it. We'll see you soon, guys. Drink up. Cheers.
Do it again. Fuck. And like it. That's way too many likes. I got to comment on a channel. Fuck. Oh. Yeah. That should probably do. That should probably do.
Thank you for watching The Straight Red Card. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share it with your grandma. Your grandma is probably about as old as I am. Seriously, she probably is. Again, thanks for supporting the show. Let's keep kicking it on down the fucking road. Good night. That hurt.